YouTube family. Now here's a before and after look at the packs and associated gear attached to them. I think the dye jobs turned out very well. Instead of spending $200, $300, $400 or more, went ahead and bought military surplus, repaired what I had to, if there was indeed anything that needed to be repaired, dyed them, and now I'm happy. Now all I got to do is finish them up, put them together, get ready to go. Well, all the gear has been dried. I dyed up yesterday. I think it turned out pretty good. It's darker than what it seems in the video. It's a nice green, dark green. Turned out nice. This Molly 2. Let me get this out of the way. This one was excellent. I'm pretty happy with this. It will blend into just about every place I go. Real happy with this. Now I'm just going to have to do some cleanup here and there, clipping off some excess threads, frays, touching that up with a lighter, and that'll be fine. This is going to look good. All put back together. Really happy with this. This is a darker green. Worked out great. Okay. These packs came out pretty decent. Dark. It's a dark green. Don't know how good it's going to be on camera, but it is a dark green. Came out good. That's the green I was wanting. But it did come out dark, I will grant you that. Now this here is a little bit lighter. These are sustainment pouches. These are on Molly 2. Ruck, large ruck. Sustainment pouches. Here's the strap assembly. Over here's the waist belt. Here's another strap assembly for a different pack. Put this one on the Alice pack that I got. Okay, one of these has this one has a rip, tear. Threads gave away right here where it was sewed together. Trim this away. Then go ahead and melt the ends a little bit with a lighter. And then go ahead and sew this back up and it'll be good as new. It'll be fine. If you're in the field and this happens, if you're outside, obviously in the woods, whatever, and something happens, that's why you carry that special duct tape, Gorilla duct tape or military type tape, and you cut a piece to fit and you're good to go for a while. No problem. Same way with your backpack. You can go ahead and sew it up after you go ahead and seal it. That'd be good. So as far as the dye job goes, it turned out pretty good. I can't complain. Remember that desert color pack? Jump pack? Look at this. Here's that same pack. Looks a lot different, doesn't it? It's got that dark green. Oh, it really looks sharp. Really happy with this. Turned out very well. Extremely happy. Let me hang this up so you can see this. Everything's done now. It's dried. Went through the whole process. Everything turned out well. I am happy. This is going to suit its intended purpose. and should blend in no matter where I go. Dark green. Very nice. A lot better this color than that one. Getting ready to dye some material, namely some hunting jackets, a backpack, military surplus. We've got some of the water boiling now. We are boiling approximately 12 gallons of water. We have 4 gallons right here. We already have water outside boiling. Carry this outside. Okay, now what we're doing, we're pouring this part of the hot water in a suitable container. Fill it. So, got about 6 in, 4, 10, 7, about 10 gallons of water. What we're going to do, experiment a little bit. It's the RIT dye for synthetics. We're going to use 2 bottles and about 1 ounce of black synthetic dye. All the dye that we use on military surplus gear, shirts, clothes, whatever, must be synthetic dye. That's the only thing it's going to take to it. What we're going to do is dump this into the water, stir it. We're going to add 2 cups of distilled vinegar, white distilled vinegar. The reason being is it helps solidify and lock in the dye to the material. So let's get busy dumping this in there. I shook these up prior to this. Just to show you, make sure the cap's on. You don't want this to go all over. Shook it up again. Technically, if you're a chemist, you'd be pouring it down the edge and let it go in. But we're not going to go to that class. Here, we're going to add 1 ounce of black dye. Right here, container, got it marked for 1 ounce. 1 ounce. This is going to make the whole solution a little darker. Okay, one thing I had to do here was come back and add another ounce of black synthetic dye. So we're up to 2 ounces of synthetic dye. And that's given the desired color that I want. I know this is hot. That may just work pretty good. Because the peacock green is what we're using, too bright. So to make that a darker green, to make any green a darker green, you add the color black. So we're going to see what happens. 2 cups of vinegar. It's 1. 2. Close enough for government work, huh? You guys ever hear that? Stir this around, get it mixed up good. Try not to spill it on yourself like I tend to do. Now, if you feel it's necessary, add another bottle of dye. I'm using only 2 bottles. Over here, we're going to dye the jackets, the coats, so to speak. Can't really call them shirts, but you call them jackets. You can see it's got that lovely digital camo on there, which nobody likes. Make sure everything's open. These here, you try to get them open. Velcro down, put that in there. Stir this around. Just do it a piece at a time. You want to make sure it gets soaked in there. This is going to be a lot better, and it looks darker when it's wet. When it dries, it'll be lighter. But in here, you have to go ahead and let it sit in here about anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. I am going to let everything sit for an hour, but for 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to have to stir this just to make sure everything is saturated. And before I do a backpack, which is next, that will be my next project, I'm going to see how nice this turns out. I use the word nice because I have a positive feeling about this. I haven't done this before. Well, I got 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, and plus some straps I'm going to throw in there too. So I'll try it all. Now this is brown straps. Yep, you got to stir it. That's all important. You got to stir it. Now, some recipes or things that people want to do requires you to go ahead and put it on the stove and cook it for about an hour. Well, I don't think that's necessary. We'll see. We'll see. As long as it takes that lighter color out. And after this gets done, been in there the appropriate amount of time, we'll take it, hang it up, drip it down, squeeze out all the excess, and then we'll plunge it in water, cool, clean water. Keep changing the water until no more dye is coming out. And then we'll hang it up, let it dry. You could even tumble it in the dryer, so that you have your wife's permission on the dryer. I don't know. There's another one. I want to make sure they all get a chance to be dyed. I'm just using a piece of a fence panel. You can see there. So just keep stirring this here for about a half hour or so, every 10 minutes if you want to. Stir it for a few minutes, make sure it's all covered. It's all saturated, nothing's been folded over and didn't soak in, but I would imagine as hot as this is. And you have the vinegar in there to help penetrate the fibers, and it helps nylon lock on to the color. So any nylon, synthetic fibers, polyester, this should work great. All the air bubbles out. That's what we're going to do here for a while, and come back, do it again and again and again for about an hour, and then we'll see how it looks. We'll pull it out and go from there. See what you think about it. All right, well, here we are here. Athena, you want to go in here too? Now this was the brown straps that I've got. Turn out a little dark.
Actually, they look pretty good.
Yeah, actually, yeah. They're going up into Bigfoot territory. Yeah, they're going up in the woods. Deep in the woods. And this is cold.
Where's your pedal?
Water. Oh, I'll just go ahead and dip my hand. No, I don't see anything leaching out of here.
Yeah, I don't see anything either.
I don't see hardly anything. No, really, nothing. Look at this. Look at that on there.
Wow. Huh.
I don't know. Oh, incidentally, left this in the dye an hour and 15 minutes. 75 minutes. That guy's straight out of there.
Yeah,
That's pretty clear water. Huh. Yeah, that's one. Well, we got some that came out now. I mean, well, it's done washing. So anything major change is going to be right here. One more thing to do is to dry it, but looky here. Look at the color. Inside, outside. It's a lot better than what it did, that's for sure. A lot greener. Well, we'll see the finished product in a little bit. We're going to put it in the dryer and go from there. Well, here it is coming out of the dryer. We'll go into the room here in a little bit. What do you think, Athena? Think it looks good? You like it? Well, no, she didn't care. Anyway, it's got a good color to it. Well, here we are back. Got everything out of the dryer. And as we can see, it's a big difference between what it was, ACU, and what it is now. A little bit more green, I would say. Toned down a little bit. Oh yes, we can see that this is a lot better suited for hunting in the woods, etc. Next time we will be dyeing a backpack, probably too, from the desert color. Let me get this one here, that brown, to a green. So we'll see what happens. Okay, what we have here is another setup like I had in the first video. I've got 6 gallons of water boiling outside. I have 3 gallons of water boiling inside. Got the tub to put everything in. And this is what we're going to do here. Military surplus backpack. It's a large ruck. And we're talking waist belt, sustainment pouches, 2 of them, shoulder assembly, and of course the rucksack itself. It's a large one. Everything there. Everything is open. We're going to see how this turns out. I want to go a dark green. So I got to put up with this peacock green. I'm going to use 3 full bottles of the synthetic peacock green and 1 full bottle of chocolate brown. Accordingly, this should turn the entire dye job a darker green, which will be great. Anything will beat this. This is my second dye job with military surplus, and the first one turned out pretty good, but we'll see about the more heavy-duty surplus pack here, and shoulder strap assembly, waist belt, and the sustainment pouches. We'll see. I am also going to include in the dye mixture this desert surplus backpack. And see how that dye works out. So we just got to get that water boiling and off we go. Alright, what we're going to do here that I didn't do on the first one, and incidentally that dye job, as you know if you watched the first video, turned out pretty good. Basically what I want to do here is wet everything. Ideally warm water so you wouldn't bring down the temperature of the dye. But here's that desert I told you I was going to go ahead and dye that too. I gotta get all of this wet first before we put it in the dye. Sure everything's open. So we'll see how all this works out. Let this soak a while. Make sure it's all saturated. It's underwater. And then we'll pull them out and hang them up to drain just a bit. And then we'll go ahead and put them in the dye solution when that's ready. Okay, this is experimentation day. Again, everything we're doing lately with the dye has been experimenting. Now, I've got that backpack in here, desert backpack. I didn't like the way it came out first time, so I'm going to re-dye it. Now what I did was I kept the dye liquid from the other day when I dyed everything. It came out just right. I added some more dye to it and I heated it up, got it at over 200 degrees. What was it, 212 for it to boil. Then I backed it off a little bit, let it simmer a little bit, and then went ahead and poured it back in here, added the material I wanted to dye, and I also have a chemical bag in here, chemical soup bag, I guess, and I'm going to dye that because that's going to be a perfect bag for putting a sleeping bag, sealing it up, and then putting that on your backpack. There it is right there. Now it's kind of bright yet, but now what I'm going to do, since all this here is in there, is leave this in there for 4 hours and we'll see what happens. I done a big experiment last night. I tell you what, I let it sit in the dye overnight. A big no-no probably if you want it precise dyeing. I definitely got this desert backpack darker. Now I'm going to rinse off all of this equipment, then I'm going to run it through the washer, going to dry it, and we'll see the results. This is supposed to be dark green with a tint of gray and chocolate brown. Weird combination, I know, but this is all experimentation. I think this done the trick, but I'll find out once I rinse it and once we run it through the wash. Carry bag. And you can see what I've used to sink all of these items down into the dye. Use the plastic container, had a weight in there to sink it down, and then of course I use this big heavy thing. It's an anchor. Some of you in the military or work in heavy trucking, you know what this is. So got the waist belt, a pack, and a bag. I think this done the trick, got these dark real quick. Remember that desert color pack? Jump pack? Look at this. Here's that same pack. Looks a lot different, doesn't it? It's got that dark green. Oh, it really looks sharp. Really happy with this. Turned out very well. Extremely happy. Let me hang this up so you can see this. Everything's done now. It's dried. Went through the whole process. Everything turned out well. I am happy. This is going to suit its intended purpose and should blend in no matter where I go. Dark green. Very nice. A lot better this color than that one. Well, all the gear has been dried. I dyed up yesterday. I think it turned out pretty good. It's darker than what it seems in the video. It's a nice green, dark green. Turned out nice. This Molly 2. Let me get this out of the way. This one was excellent. I'm pretty happy with this. It will blend into just about every place I go. Real happy with this. Now I'm just going to have to do some cleanup here and there. Clipping off some excess threads, frays, touching that up with a lighter, and that'll be fine. It's gonna look good. All put back together. Really happy with this. This is a darker green. Worked out great. Okay. These packs came out pretty decent. Dark. It's a dark green. Don't know how good it's going to be on camera, but it is a dark green. Came out good. That's the green I was wanting. But it did come out dark, I will grant you that. Now this here is a little bit lighter. These are the sustainment pouches. These are on Molly 2. Ruck, large ruck. Sustainment pouches. Here's the strap assembly. Over here's the waist belt. Here's another strap assembly for a different pack. Put this one on the Alice pack that I got. Okay, one of these has a rip, tear. Threads gave away right here where it was sewed together. Trim this away. Then go ahead and melt the ends a little bit with a lighter, and then go ahead and sew this back up, and it'll be good as new. It'll be fine. If you're in the field and this happens, if you're outside, obviously in the woods, whatever, and something happens, that's why you carry that special duct tape, Gorilla duct tape or military type tape, and you cut a piece to fit and you're good to go for a while. No problem. Same way with your backpack. You can go ahead and sew it up after you go ahead and seal it. That'd be good. So as far as the dye job goes, it turned out pretty good. I can't complain. Hello, YouTube. Let me tell you, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Gerber. We got our pack hatchets in today. Just wanted to say something about Amazon. They deliver a lot of packages, I know. But to let you know, when I got these two in, this one was sticking partially out, already broke free. And as you can see, for that to happen in these strong packages, there's a lot of pressure put on these. Keep a watch on these packages. These here coming in handy. I know they're good. I kind of wanted the orange down here. They didn't have any in stock. I don't even know if they make it in that color. That's so I can see it if I drop it. And incidentally, I probably will end up dropping it, so I got to find it, the dark or whatever situation may be. So things are going good there. One thing else on the packs, made a big order today. More supplies are coming in so I could do a conversion and get some extra equipment and stuff we need around the shop here. Alice pack, small Alice pack, radio pack. I'm converting it. I'm going to make what's called a Hellcat modification. I already changed out the kidney belt. This is a Molly 2 kidney belt. This belt here is excellent belt. Already put it on the pack. I do have new straps coming in, but they also are going to be the Molly 2 strap system. Put that on here. It's going to be a lot better. I have two Alice packs. This is the smaller one. I do have a large one. I'll be doing that sometime in the future. Found where they have the systems that we can just order them in individually, because a lot of these things are starting to dry up in the market. So if you know where they're at, you need the supplies, make the order and get it in. Okay, now on here, I know I'm not crazy about this so-called camouflage. To me, woodland camo is the real camouflage. Well, so much for that. I just got to color these green, and I'm going to end up taking this pack apart, going ahead and dyeing what I can for the color that we can to closely match what we have, so it looks kind of good. Lighter color won't show up, because once everything's darkened like this, boy, you really do have camo. Let me tell you, it's kind of hard to pick up. And you have to be careful of that, because sometimes I believe that with our current optical technology, you can pick this up in total darkness with the proper optics, electronically enhanced, and you can actually see these packs. You can see these colors. But that's for another video in there. I want you to notice something on this here, since this here's it's a Molly 2 kidney belt setup. You notice, if you can picture a face here, this is a frown. Unhappy backpack's what this is called. This is how the saying goes. Unhappy backpack is a happy back. In other words, if you put your belt on this way, it's not going to give you a blister and rub into the top part of your buttocks or your lower portion of your back, because this won't be rubbing down here. See how this here is the different side? Usually you flip it over and you put it on that way on a Molly 2 like this one. This is correct for a Molly 2. Unless, of course, it starts to bother you. Then you can flip it around. But this is correct for a Molly 2. Putting this on a frame like this, the Alice frame, it's best to flip it around and do it that way. Try it. You'll like it, because if you get to rucking and double timing with weight on, this here, if it's flipped down, will go ahead and eat into your skin and your muscles in the back. So this is just a little tip right there. But again, it depends upon the person. Each person's different. So that's all we got going on today. It's just doing this, getting things situated, getting ready for the holiday season, getting these packs ready. Are going to be heading off into the woods the first part of the year, doing some scouting, provided there's not 10 feet of snow out there. We've got a good year coming up on our channel. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, for all the like. Talk to other people and check us out. We try to get a little bit of everything on our channel, just not one thing. I'm just interested in helping them out. That's what it's all about, is helping people out. Thank you very much for watching. Nope, no cooking today. What we're going to do is talk a little bit about, and it's fairly easy, is the lubrication of zippers on your backpacks, outdoor gear, things of that nature. Some people say just go ahead and spray WD-40. If you did that, you would just go ahead and stain all the rest of this up here. I just got done dyeing this here several weeks ago, and I don't want to get it all stained up with anything like that. Besides, I have an easier way for you. You can go ahead and lubricate zippers fairly easy. You can use olive oil. This is extra virgin. We buy a lot of this. It's good for you. But anyway, you can use olive oil. You want to be careful with food smells or anything like that, because if you go ahead and lubricate the zipper, let's say you go ahead and use olive oil, or you use a PAM lubricant that you go ahead and spray the skillets with, or some other thing like that, and cook with them. Those food smells will be on your zipper and on your pack. And then when you set your pack down, or even if you put it in a tree and suspend it from a tree, like most people do, bushcrafters out there in the woods, little chipmunks or squirrels will come down and munch on all this and tear it up. That's going to ruin your whole day, because it's going to cost a lot of money to replace that zipper. But what you do is you can take some olive oil, go along here, and right here in the zipper itself, you can go ahead, some good pieces. Now you want to make sure there's no filaments from the cotton swab plugging that up, and keep these clean. It's where a lot of problems will develop. After you lubricate the zipper, over a period of time, after you use it, you're out in the woods, you come back, always try to make sure that the zipper itself is clean, not a lot of dirt, leaves, or things like that adhering to it. But you can go ahead and do that, and it works very well. Usually too, in these bigger YKK zippers, you got to make sure everything's lined up easy for it to pull easy. And that works just great. You can do that. Lip balm, the same thing. No flavored lip balm used to go ahead and lubricate the zippers, because if you do go out in the woods a lot and there's chipmunks out there, they're going to munch, munch, munch and destroy all that. You don't want that. This is the Molly 2-pack that I dyed. Now, another thing you can use to go ahead and lubricate this is high dielectric silicone grease. And you have to be careful with this. This here will also stain. You just squeeze some out. You put it on a cotton swab. And it's going to be thick. And then you just rub it along. And you work it back in to the zipper. A graphite pencil too will work. You just take that pencil, graphite pencil, you just rub it back and forth across there and work that zipper a little bit. It will work fine. Beeswax and things like that will work, but what will happen is that wax will harden up. Then when you go use your zipper a little bit, it'd be more difficult to use. Plus, it creates a big mess on the inside of your pack and on the outside of your pack here. And what I mean by mess is, because again it hardens up, there's little flakes all over the place, and you got to keep that clean. There are other lubricants that you can use. I'll show some pictures of them, and whether or not you want to buy them or not, that's up to you. They cost a lot of money. You could use olive oil, silicone-based high dielectric grease, which is pure silicone, by the way. You could use a few other items that you can get at a local store or you have around the home. You want to be careful of the sprays that you have, because again, if you got have a real nice looking backpack, whether it be for school or what have you, and you spray it, it's going to soak into that fabric and stain it. You don't want to do that. Here's another pack that I dyed. You like that dye color? Oh, that's nice. That's nice dye there. Now this zipper here still works fine. Really nice. Really easy. But again, on these larger zippers, you can just wet up a Q-tip, or a cotton swab. Make sure there's no fibers on there. Put some down in here. Work it a little bit. Now you can take your time and do all of this pretty quick. But I'm just trying to hurry up and show you right here. And that will work great. Now once this is zipped shut, you can come back, preferably with a rag, not necessarily a paper towel, but just kind of dab that if there's any extra there. Make sure that doesn't go ahead and attract more dust and dirt and grime. And that will work. Because a lot of times if you're in a hurry or it's cold out, your hands are cold, you're trying to get in your pack and get supplies you need to get warmed up, it's difficult. Make it easy for you, just like this. That's the way they should work, just like that. Now, when it comes to smaller zippers, such as this smaller teeth zippers, always lacking room, always lacking room. You can do the same thing. But if you can imagine any sprays, you're going to go ahead and stain this fabric. You don't want to do that. So you could use a little bit of that olive oil, or get some of the commercial products if you want, and do that. Now, anything thick that you use may interfere with this zipper staying together once it's up. The reason why you want to use olive oil is because that will not tear up the plastic. There are some lubricants out there that will tear up plastic. It will go ahead and soften it, then it won't adhere anymore. These larger YKK zippers and all the military packs, that's why I like them. They're almost indestructible. I mean, they can get messed up, but they're great. I hope these tips help you. If you need it in a hurry, just use some olive oil, or you could use that Pam spray that I talked about earlier. Go ahead and spray some of that in the cup. Go ahead and use that. Go ahead and dab it on. Work your zipper back and forth. That would make it work easy. One tip, if you use bar soap, it's a good idea, but if it rains, what happens to the soap? It could go ahead and stain, make a great big mess. Soap will work if you can keep it dry. A lot of things will work if you can keep it dry. A lot of times people will go ahead and use Vaseline. Vaseline's great, it will work, but the problem with Vaseline is it has a low drop point. In other words, that means that it will melt very easily and you'll have a big mess again. Just like when you're trying to make fire starters. A lot of people like to use the Vaseline and the cotton ball or the little cotton pad that you have. And that's nice, but boy, it's messy. And that's what will happen all up in here and all over. So keep that in mind.